As Republican presidential hopefuls descended on Iowa this weekend, there was one notable absence: the candidate who has called Donald Trump stupid, a loser, selfish, a failure. And that's just the last couple of days. Republican presidential candidate and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie joins me now. Sir, it is always great to have you here on the program, so thank you for being here. And you just heard your competitor, Vivek Ramaswamy, say that he would still pardon Donald Trump, even after the special counsel charged him with seeking to destroy security footage in the classified documents case. Now, you, in addition to being a governor, were a federal prosecutor. And I'd like to know, when you look at this new evidence, I mean, is there a clear-cut case of obstruction of justice here?
It appears that way, Casey. You look at it, it's pretty brazen. These guys were acting like the Corleones with no experience. I mean, the day after a grand jury subpoena is served, which includes the surveillance tapes, they go down to Mar-a-Lago, and Walt Nauta appears to be the Fredo of this family. They send him to go down there, and they send him to go and delete it. This is bad stuff, and you can't say there was no underlying potential crime here. This was the withholding of confidential, classified information from the government after 18 months of asking Donald Trump to return it voluntarily. Not only did he not return it, he lied about having it. This is not the kind of thing we could do. I want you to think, Casey, for a second about the potential effect on our troops and our intelligence officers by having this stuff just laying around and him willy-nilly showing it to whoever he feels like to be a show-off on the back deck at Mar-a-Lago. This is not what a former president should be doing, and it's certainly not something that someone who wants to be president should be doing.
And does it go to criminal intent? I mean, this seemed to suggest that Trump was aware. I mean, his defense has been, well, I can declassify whatever I want. This seems to fly in the face of that defense.
Well, first of all, I can declassify whatever I want defense is not a defense. You can declassify whatever you want when you're president. You can't do it by thinking about it. You can't do it about mind melding with the documents. There's a process you have to go through to declassify, and he knows that. So there are no defenses in that regard here. Look, he's presumed innocent, but the bottom line is the government has made a very, very compelling case. And remember something. Usually the government only includes, at the most, about half of the evidence they have. And what's clear on the latest obstruction charges are they have a cooperating witness. Trump employee number 4 looks like a very, very important cooperating witness. So we now have people inside the Trump organization employed by Donald Trump who are testifying against him. And I think the next one you're going to see is former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows in the January 6th case. And I wonder what Donald Trump will have to say about that.
Fair enough. So let me ask you about the rally last night on Friday, the rally last night that Trump held in Pennsylvania. He called on Congress to withhold aid to Ukraine unless the White House cooperates with the Republicans' Hunter Biden probes, which seems to be very similar to what Trump got impeached for back in 2019. But he also had this to say to Republicans. Take a look.
They don't fight the way they're supposed to fight. The others are dirty, sick players, and the Republicans are very high class. They've got to be a little bit lower class, I suspect.
What's your response to that?
Look, he's not even clearing that bar. I want voters to listen to this. It is most likely that by the time we get on the debate stage on August 23rd, the frontrunner will be out on bail in 4 different jurisdictions: Florida, Washington, Georgia, and New York. Out on bail, Casey. I mean, that doesn't even clear the low-class bar that Donald Trump is advocating for. Look, I'm running for president because I want to do the big things. I want to make sure that we fix our entitlement programs. I want to make sure that we give parents educational freedom to decide where their kids go to school all across this country. There are big things that we need to do here to lower inflation and to create jobs that are good paying and help people to save money. And he's sitting there at a rally for 2 hours last night talking about his own problems. This is a guy who's putting himself before the country. You can't put America first with Donald Trump because it's Trump first. And the proof of that, by the way, is for all those people who donated $25, $50, $100 to him when he was telling them in 2020 that the election was a lie and that he was going to try to reverse the election. All of those people we now know have paid over $40 million of their hard-earned money for a billionaire's legal fees. He is not enough of a stand-up person with his wealth and his big private 737 plane and all the rest that he has, and Mar-a-Lago and the Trump Tower and all the rest, and he's making regular Americans pay his legal fees. It's outrageous. It's beneath the job that he seeks to hold again. And he's going to be, let's remind him, out on bail. This is not the kind of person we want as our nominee because, by the way, Joe Biden will be the president again if Donald Trump's the nominee.
So you mentioned the big things, and I want to ask you about that because the reality is there is some good economic news these days. Inflation is creeping down to 3%. GDP is strong. Consumer sentiment is on the way up. We have wages going up faster than prices. Do you think President Biden deserves any credit for that?
Casey, what he deserves credit for is the fact that everything is 17% more expensive today than it was when he took the oath of office on January 20th of 2021. Interest rates are at one of our highest level in 25 years, making it much more expensive for people to buy a home, to buy a car, to be able to invest in their business and grow it, to create jobs. This guy is the Jimmy Carter of the 2020s. And his inflation that he created, and don't take my word for it, Democratic economist, former Treasury Secretary under Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, has said that Joe Biden created this inflation through his ridiculous spending. I dealt with this in New Jersey, Casey, after coming after John Corzine. We had an $11 billion deficit on a $29 billion budget. We balanced the budget by cutting 836 individual programs and did not raise taxes. This stuff can be done, but you need someone who knows how to execute and knows how to do it. What the Republican Party voters and all American voters deserve are two things. The truth is not negotiable, and I'm not going to say something different on your program than I will anywhere else in this country. And second, they need someone who can deliver on the issues they care about, on the border, on Obamacare, on the national debt, on entitlement programs. Donald Trump failed on all those when he was president, even with a Republican Congress. Elect me president, and I won't.
All right. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, thank you very much for your time this morning, sir. I'm sure we'll see much more of you on the trail.
Sure will, Casey. Thank you very much.